All right, today we're going to talk about how patents show up on the balance sheet. Hi, I'm JD Houvener, patent attorney and owner here at Bold Patents Law Firm. And I've been helping inventors for 10 years and helping thousands of our clients get through this process and awarding almost over 300 patents as of today. So I'm excited to talk with you about this topic, which is probably something that your CPA or tax attorney would have a lot more to say about. So I'll try to be brief and make sure I stay within my lane on the legal side of things. Patents are intangible assets. And so that is a separate line item on your balance sheet if you're familiar with looking at it. Intangible assets, for those that are not familiar, are those that you can't actually physically touch. And the value is sort of a future, right? It's a non-current value. And so within that, patents being intangible, the valuation, right, the current amount that is on the balance sheet will depend on how you're currently valuing it. Now, there are some really cool, interesting ways to do accounting, long words like depreciation of certain assets like you would for your home. You can do the same thing for patents. And so we've talked about patent term, right? The 20 years for a utility patent, let's say. You can, if you work with your accountant, you can depreciate the value of that asset and therefore reduce the value of the patent as it goes on. Now that has to be taken into account how it's doing in the market. And I think the smartest way to go about it would be to, value your patent or your patent portfolio annually to kind of see, okay, how valuable is this in the market? And the way to do that, and many different accountants and bookkeepers would have different approaches. But I think in general, you're going to see, okay, how much would another, say a competitor, buy this patent right for it, right? Is there a product being sold on the market currently that's enforced with the patent and is preventing others from being able to enter? That's a great concept. And then what is the value? What's the market share? The actual dollar amount that product brings in above and beyond its competitors. That would be a clean way to assess how much it's worth with the valuation. And maybe that even after 10 or 15 years, it finally hits its stride, right? The market is finally ready for the patent and the valuation should be much higher, even though you are depreciating it on your 15, your 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Those last 4 years, the valuation is going to be much higher. And so you have to make sure you're being equitable and accurate as you can be to put it on the balance sheet. Now, there's another thing to talk about when it comes to patenting and how they're on the balance sheet is you can amortize it. So that's another concept, kind of like mortgaging. And I've talked about depreciating it. You can have that as part of your main process for paying taxes, right? Having a reduced amount of income, showing that it's not truly hitting your books this year, you can flow it out over time. So that way you're not having these big spikes of valuation. Say if you go 1 year, say year 14, it's lower, but on year 15, like we said earlier, it hits its stride. You're not hit with this giant tax burden out of the blue, if you will. It can be flowed out over time. So just as much as you can for depreciation, you can amortize the value, or in other words, the income that you're generating on the other side. Last but not least, recording the patent. So once a patent portfolio has been granted from the patent office, you can record or assign that patent to a company. And that will actually benefit you individually, especially if your taxable income is higher than you want it to be, and you're trying to, pay less taxes. You can have that assigned to an entity, and the business itself can pay those taxes on, say, the income or the valuation as it goes. And you can assign that. And if you're really sophisticated, you can put different companies in place, multiple companies in place. One for let's say the product or the business that your technology is bringing to market, and then a separate company that will house and hold just the intellectual property, so that you're not having to, pay taxes for that, a special entity, that intellectual property entity, apart from your main business, if there's a lot of income on the main business side. All right, enough about taxes and CPAs. I do want you to get a hold of your CPA and your licensed tax attorney if you have more questions about this. It's a topic that I just know a little bit about, and so I wanted to share that with you here today. I hope you had a good session. If you have any further questions and you want to learn more about inventing, please click below. I've got an inventor kit for you to download, and that'll give you a lot of information about how to get started. Talks about our process, also our matrix as well, the patent success matrix. So give that a shot. Download the PDF today. All right, everybody, have a good rest of your day. Go big, go bold.